Hello fellow tacticians, the October update is here, and like we did for last month's update, we're just going to go ahead and take a look at everything that came out, and pretty much show you all some of the highlights, and save you a bit of reading in case that is not your thing. So let's just go ahead and start hopping right into it. October update notes. We have the Wing Prime, Spooky Season, and more. Now, the update is rolling out soon for everybody, and that is essentially what's happening here. This first paragraph really touches on the upcoming Battle Pass that we're getting for this month. The Epic Deathleaper character is coming into this Battle Pass, very similar to how Azrael was released. The Battle Pass will return to normal for the following edition, and all the details, plus so much more. So that essentially they're talking about the additional 5 tiers that they're going to be adding for the Battle Pass. So, the Battle Pass is going to be starting on October 22nd, and that will have Deathleaper in it. Now, due to some little hiccups with how the update came out initially and has been since dialed back, we've actually seen both new characters that are going to be coming out with this patch. Well, not the Winged Prime. We haven't really seen him yet. However, if you take a look at the guild raid, I imagine there's going to be a lot of similarities there. We've seen a lot of similarities between the primes for Mortarion and Gazgul with their actual in-game counterparts, so imagine there's going to be a lot of similarities there. So, we have the Epic character coming in. We have the 5 additional tiers that we talked about. Now, here's the big one that has a lot of people kind of asking a lot of question mark pings, right? It's the Ultimate Pass. Now, Ultimate Pass is going to come out, and it's going to have everything from the Premium Pass, which has remained unchanged, plus even more rewards and a boost to the Battle Pass points earned from Battle Pass missions. So you will get those higher tiers faster. And that's also going to be pretty nice for anybody that does hit the end tier. You know, if you get more points, then that's going to be more epic tomes, that's going to be more gold going into your account as well, so some things to be pretty happy about. And this season there are 13 additional rewards that are unlocked by the Ultimate Pass, including an exclusive Tyranid avatar frame. So, if you like collectible cosmetics, this is definitely something for you. Halloween special events will be from October 25th to November 4th. It's going to be a week-long offer calendar with a mix of free and paid offers. The 2 free offers have 25 Deathleaper shards and 120 Battle Pass points, and the 6 paid offers include a total of 50 Deathleaper shards and 480 Battle Pass points. So once again, accelerating your Battle Pass acquisition and also helping you with Deathleaper. Now, don't know the exact specifics on how many shards are going to be handed out in each different tier of the Battle Pass, but from what I understand is you will be able to get Deathleaper unlocked with just the regular Battle Pass, the Premium Battle Pass. There's regular, Premium, and Ultimate now, so y'all know how I am with terminology sometimes. Alright, so character should be coming out as Epic, if I'm not mistaken, and so we'll need 250 shards total. This will theoretically give you 75 if you do the paid offers here. So it's up to you and how important you look at and value the character. We will be taking a look at both Deathleaper and Njal after we go through these patch notes. So new collectible characters, we have Deathleaper, which we'll take a look at the abilities here soon. We have the Winged Prime coming out in the event on October 29th, and I will be doing character spotlights for each of these characters coming out. And we also have Ragnar Blackmane. Now, they have improved the balancing compared to previous events to make sure that the shard conversion at the end of the last event is more fair. Even though they have increased the number of shards needed to unlock and promote the character, we have also increased the number of milestones and the rewards. As a result, unlocking and promoting the character requires the same effort as in earlier events. So essentially, do the same stuff, you'll get the character. Unlock and promotion shard costs. Previous events, you have 150, 60, 70, 80, and then here you have 400, 120, 180, 200. Now, what I understand, the big reason for this is, okay, previously, if you ended the event at 140 out of 150, right, you would get 140, say, Shadow Zone shards, which means you're now 140 out of 500, and that feels really freaking bad. In this case, Ragnar, you can go all the way up to, 380, right? And that will get you closer to actually unlocking him if you failed to actually unlock him in the event. So a little bit of a feels good for people that just don't make that cutoff. But you still have 3 chances to try to get this character. And looking at the current release cycle, it's what? That's almost a year, right? So you've got plenty of time. Now, Njal Stormcaller, Lord of Runes, is unlockable exclusively from the Rogue Trader starting October 22nd, replacing Azrael in the daily deals. I've seen a lot of people be upset about this. Personally, I am, but not for the reasons that some other people are. I think it's good that there is an endgame character for endgame players to work on unlocking. I would rather this not be the first example that we're seeing of this. I would rather, legendary raids have some sort of shards in them. There be an exclusive character unlocked from Tournament Arena, right? Like the end chests or whatever the case may be. Like some sort of top tier, or maybe not Tournament Arena per se, but maybe Chapter Master League, right? Something that you can work towards, and really focus on a specific game mode, get to that end of that game mode and start really unlocking a character instead of saying, well, I got a lot of these shards, so here we go. I guess I get this character. I have seen this in other games, like Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes, where General Grievous was the character that you would unlock in this iteration, but that game also, doing the raids, you would get shards for characters, right? So you do a tank raid and you get shards for General Kenobi. That was fantastic. So, yay, an endgame character. Boo, this is the first one we're getting, and boo, this is how we're getting the first one. Hopefully it will spell a formula for changing things in the future. I still think Rogue Trader was a great addition to the game and gives players, a little bit of a feels-good moment in the event that they're not, able to convert excess shards that were just sitting there for the longest time. So, overall, I think this is a win. Rogue Trader as a whole is a win. And for the people that are upset that you don't have Rogue Trader unlocked yet, this game is a marathon, not a sprint. I keep trying to tell people that. If you think of it as a sprint, you're going to have a bad time. Upcoming quest events. Azrael will be on October 25th, and Abraxas will be on November 8th. Now, I don't imagine we're going to need too many Dark Angels characters for the Azrael event, but start thinking a little bit about how that last event was tuned for needing some Thousand Sons characters, and prepare accordingly. You didn't need them, but they made life a hell of a lot easier. New campaign battles. We have Mirror Elite Fall of Cadia Part 3 to 5, and that actually really excites me. I'm loving the tempo that we're getting for these campaign battles. Hope it continues. I would love to see more each month. I think that's fantastic. Tournament Arena. So we're going to have another Infested Boost PvP battle. I think this is very similar, or will be an exact carbon copy of the one that we had for the anniversary event. So I know a lot of people like that one. Yay. And then the usual live synchronous draft rule set PvP battle will be November 16th for 48 hours. So the Infested one's going to be long. It's going to be 120 hours. And then we have the draft one, the standard one, for 48. I'll be doing live streams for both if anybody is interested in watching. For anybody capped out on salvage runs, you get 3 more lanes. Yay. 3 more sectors for each lane. Now, new equipable items. So if you've done some arena battles and maybe you've gotten a few of these, this is pretty cool. But ceremonial knives are coming in. This is a 25% crit item, very similar to the ones that we've seen on the Tyranids already. So that kind of power fluctuation there. And that's going to bring in a lot of interesting questions. Who benefits the most from these, right? Eldryon, for example, is going to benefit from this. He wants a lower crit chance, but a higher crit damage because he is a single hitter on his ranged attack, not his melee. But for characters like Malgan Ra, who's a 6-hitter, well, you now need to take into consideration the passive 15%, and you also need to take into consideration potentially using a Thana buff as well. I know everybody that has a max gun for Malgan Ra, it might be time to swap, and that feels really bad because you invested really heavily into that weapon. So, something to consider. Maybe break it down and invest into a ceremonial knife. I will be checking things out on my weapon damage calculator. For anybody that does not have that yet, I will be posting a link for you to pull that up down below in the description. Alright, let's take a... I'm sorry. Spike Pauldrons. We have common through legendary, and that's going to be usable by the Orcs and Chaos. So, very similar to how we recently got the change for the Necrons equipment, how they now have health and armor options. Same thing happening here for the Orcs and Chaos factions. That way you have a little bit more variability. One thing that I really like seeing is that there is some duplication, or I guess interchangeability is the word I wanted there, for the Orcs and the Chaos, so you can have one Spike Pauldron and share it around with everybody. So that does feel really good. I'm glad they didn't, just come out with, piece of cardboard for the Orcs and then, like corrupted plate for the Chaos. That would have felt really bad. So good choice there. Now let's take a look at some of the improvements here. For the Elder Shop, the Premium Avatar, and I think that's supposed to be Rogue Trader Shop. I will go ahead and let them know about that. The Premium Avatar is shown in the daily deals with a lower frequency. So, yay. I think right now in my shop it's salvage. So, that's something to keep in mind. Character release events. The bonus delivery offers can now be purchased throughout each week and hand out the event's currency bonus retroactively. That means you don't have to make a decision up front. You can wait and go ahead and grab it. Ability descriptions. Tapping on the summon text in ability descriptions now shows the summon stats, including movement, hit count, damage type as well, so nice little quality of life. Battle Pass can now be claimed in any order you want. This was really for those people that were hoarding the energy for the hero release events. Now you can, go through and get your tomes or your badges or your orbs, and then go pick up your energy later. So for the people that are min-maxing, this is a great quality of life improvement for you. Draft rewards. Improve visual sequence when collecting them, and they can now be used in inbox messages, offers, and crates. So, yay. Smaller improvements. Change the map layout for 2 battles. Nice. I feel like there was a little bit of duplication there, so that's nice. Mission toasts after battle now show a maximum of 3 toasts, and note if more are present to prevent clogging up the screen for too long. I've seen mixed opinions on this one as well, but essentially if you have 16 missions, and you make progress on all 16 of those at one time, instead of getting flooded for the next 20 minutes with, you made progress here, and showing that incrementation, instead it will say, you made progress on 1, 2, 3, and then 16 others, right? Or 15, 14, however many my initial number was. Yay, for the people that were tired of having it kind of clog things up. Boo for the people that really needed that status track, right? And instead of going, shit, how many did I need? And have to pop out after each battle. That does feel a little bit bad, especially since it doesn't show it in order of completion status. It shows it in order of the time that you acquired that mission. So your oldest missions, I believe, are at the top, and then subsequently on so forth. Heavy weapon trait now increases damage dealt during the opponent's turn if the unit has not moved during its own turn, and that's going to be really good for Sark, it's going to be really good for Certus, it's going to be very good for Malgan Ra, so all around, pretty good change. The Sniper Drones from Showsill will no longer be despawned via Showsill's passive ability. Will no longer trigger Battle Fatigue for Showsill's passive ability cycling them out. So I guess what may happen before is if a drone disappeared because it was replaced by another one, Battle Fatigue was triggered. And that could be really bad for Grot tanks and Cadian Guardsmen, depending on how you feel about Yark's new buff we'll talk about here in a second. Units standing on tiles with ice now show a tooltip for the tile effect. That's pretty nice, so you know if you're actually getting that crit damage increase. One caveat, and I know it's going to be a really big point here in a little bit, is that bosses are immune to ice. So for people, Jace, that thought they could use Ulf to help Malgan Ra get some more crit chance, no, you can't. So that was a little unfortunate, and I learned the hard way. Made visual improvements to the number of shells shown in Basilisk Barrage visuals. Beautiful. Tweaked Showsill in-game size. Cool. And Darkstrider's drone now has a fade-out visual instead of abruptly disappearing. All fun stuff. The ability badges in the Force slot have been replaced by certain upgrades that cannot be found in the campaign, so nice. Added some new upgrades to drop locations formerly occupied by overrepresented or barely used upgrades, which is also nice. So we're just swapping out new upgrades, helping the Tyranids out a little bit, I believe, with Slicing Claws, Archaeotech Remnant. So fun stuff there. They changed some upgrades around, so Locator Beacon is now razor sharp spikes for Tyrant Guard, and so on and so forth. Arimon actually now has Rebreather instead of Fine Purity Seal, which, cool. Changed some Ultramarine upgrades as well, so they now actually have Duplicate Organ, which is pretty cool. Very lore-friendly with that. We did get a character buff, Commissar Yark, Summary Execution. Friendly units with battle fatigue now always deal extra damage. The extra damage value was reduced slightly. Now here's where the big change comes in. First time a friendly unit would flee, it is instead executed, which has a double kind of bonus here for people that might not be tracking, for interaction with traits and abilities that require a unit to be dead. So, Sisters, Active Faith, there you go. You're now going to get a little bit of crit damage and crit percent from the guards fleeing. That's actually a really huge bonus. Other friendly units then ignore the trait as long as Yark is alive. After a friendly unit has been executed, other friendly units with battle fatigue deal damage, additional damage, so damage on top of the previous damage, and we'll take a look at that. So overall, you're getting more damage out of your guardsmen with Yark's passive, so the value of that has gone up. So let's take a look at just some of the bug fixes, so we can be happy about these, and if you've ever experienced them, now you know it'll be fixed. Some spelling mistakes, fun. Thaddeus Noble Danger Zone behaving incorrectly. Fixed a bug where stun and suppression would stack. Units can no longer get their movement reduced to 0. That's frickin' hilarious. I wish I would have seen that. Fixed a bug where Darkstrider's fighting retreat would not let him ignore close combat weakness. That would suck. Fixed a bug where the Screamer Killer would not use Living Battering Ram if the target would be displaced to an inaccessible tile. Now it will always perform the ability unless using other abilities if the unit can be displaced onto the target tile. It will be subject to knockback damage unless it has big target. So, in my initial Screamer Killer video, I did not cover the wall manipulation. It has been very beneficial for a lot of people to use, and I kind of found out after I had already recorded everything. But I didn't want to go back and make a revision because I was told by the development team, hey, this is a bug, it should be fixed soon. If you update the game, it is fixed. Yay. I highly recommend you still update the game. Don't try to keep your game on the old version for Legendary 3. It's kind of crummy, right? So, but yeah, so it's going to be a lot harder for Ravos to solo tank, just because he's going to be taking the additional damage, and also if he uses drones, the battering ram can crit, his melee attack can crit. It's going to make it a lot harder for everybody all around that was using this prior, so something to keep in mind. This was definitely the biggest bug fix in my personal opinion. Fixed a bug where Kalena's passive ability would not trigger during the first turn. I've had that happen to me twice last tournament arena, and it made me feel really sad. Fixed a bug where the ability damage zone indicator would be invisible under bridge tiles. Interesting. Fixed a bug where units with instinctive behavior would ignore taunt. Fixed a crash when Executioner on Pink Horrors. The big one that I'm looking for is the crash on Azrael's active ability. I've ran into that one a few times, but most of these are crashes, breaks, and everything is all happy there. So, with that being said, let's go ahead and take a real quick look at Yark's new passive ability here, and you see it displayed. Friendly units with battle fatigue deal X damage. The first time a friendly unit would flee due to battle fatigue, it is executed, and all friendly units with the trait ignore it and deal additional X damage. So, definitely a big change there and for the benefit. Now, hopefully a moment you've all been waiting for. Let's take a look at the Deathleaper. Going into the Battle Pass on October 22nd, we have the Deathleaper right here. And he is a hive mind, created this advancement of the Lictor strain as a terror weapon, possessing an instinctive understanding of how to spread fear. It uses its skills in stealth, infiltration, and assassination to sow paranoia and dread before the hive fleet attacks en masse. So, all these screenshots are posted in the character chat on the main Discord because of a little bit of an oopsie when the update first rolled out. But we now know the abilities, its traits, and now, caveat, this could still change before the character is released. It could change after the character is released. We never know, but this is our initial first look, and I can't imagine it's going to change too terribly much. Now, taking a look at the Deathleaper, it is looking very much like a PvP character, which I've expressed my dissatisfaction with just a little bit multiple times already. But his active ability is Fear of the Unseen. If the Deathleaper has not moved this turn and is not in Deep Strike, which he has Deep Strike in his traits, we'll take a look at those right after this, all enemies within 2 hexes get suppressed and trigger Battle Fatigue if they have it. The Deathleaper enters Deep Strike again. In its next turn, the Deathleaper can also move to any free hex within the battlefield with Tall Grass or within Synapse range. So, definitely some synergy there with the Northrop and potentially other Tyranids whenever they come out, regardless of the distance to enemies. And its attacks deal an additional X direct damage. So direct damage is really nice, especially you're dealing with Calgar. You're then also able to deal with some annoyance of, Celestine and other characters like that. Now, he really needs to survive that first movement and then kind of get into position and then use it again. So, something to be taken for there. Now, the Deathleaper has Camouflage that we've seen in the past with Shadow Sun. Has Deep Strike, obviously, for his active ability. He does have Infiltrate, so will not trigger Overwatch, which is really nice. And also has Terrifying as well, which we've seen on... I am trying to remember who we've seen this. Malgan Ra. There we go. Malgan Ra. Takes 30% reduced damage from melee attacks. So that is the traits. Then we also have his passive, Feeder Tendrils. If the Deathleaper has moved adjacent to its melee target this turn, it deals plus damage, heals for X amount of health, and suppresses the target. So, once again, everybody has a better Cut Skoden passive than Cut Skoden does, unfortunately. So that is the Deathleaper. For me, personally, it's going to be another one of those characters I take to Silver 1 and leave there, personally. Y'all do what you want. Hopefully you enjoy the character. Now let's take a look at the next character here. We have Njal. Njal is going to be in the Rogue Trader Shop. Known as the Storm That Walks, Njal is the Space Wolves chapter's High Rune Priest, summoning Ice Tooth Blizzards to scatter his foes. He has an elemental focus of Psychic Fury. Lots of play around ice here. He is a Psyker, he has Terminator armor, and I'm trying to remember what the boots is. Unstoppable, there we go. So, Stormcaller. Target an enemy within 3 hexes. The target's hex and all adjacent hexes get covered in ice. All enemies standing on hexes covered in ice are dealt 3 times psychic damage, and flying enemies damaged this way get stunned. So, definitely a great way to counter the Celestine meta. Once again, PvP character. Almost guaranteed. And the only reason I say that is because ice and bosses do not get along. This was a very important point that I brought up earlier, and I really want to reiterate that. Njal's normal attacks deal plus 4 damage, and this is at rank 1 for each hex surrounding him that is covered in ice. The hex of each enemy that is hit by Njal's normal attacks is covered in ice at the end of the attack. Very similar to how Ahriman kind of worked out, in how he would be able to apply fire damage and then kind of capitalize on the fire tiles, rather. I don't know what this is going to scale to just yet. I'm excited to see. But once again, another PvP character. Which kind of puts me on the soapbox a little bit here, and I'm sure y'all know it was coming. It's really hard to get excited for some of these characters when PvP is in a clusterfucky state. Comes out every now and again. Every 2 weeks, I get to use my character's cool. Arena, I don't use it for PvP. It's not me, challenging myself. It is essentially me going, okay, cool, how can I get experience on my characters and collect chests? And I'm hoping this is some sort of prelude to a different game mode coming out in the future. But, taking a look at it, we can go back here and look at all these characters that we've gotten recently. Azrael, PvP. Thalmachus, maybe some PvE implications there. I haven't had great luck with him. Abraxas is PvE. That's good. Good job for Abraxas. Toth is still a question mark. PvP. Pseudo PvP has some PvE uses. PvP. PvE-ish. PvP. And, we look at some of the other characters that we have unlocked, right? Legendary release events. PvP. Kind of PvP. I mean, maybe PvE later. So there's been a lot of PvP characters coming out. Arjak PvP. And it's just really hard to get excited for him when I've said it a million times. I feel like Guild Raids is the penultimate game mode. So I know a little bit longer video. Just wanted to really kind of go over some of the notes, some of my thoughts on it. And, I'd like to say I spared you some reading, but now you got to deal with a 25-minute video. Real quick, I do want to note that the tier list video is coming out soon. Should be out by the end of the week. We will be doing the giveaway announcement on that video as well as participate in the Halloween event with the letters. So you'll see those coming out here soon. But with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, overall, happy about the update. Glad we're getting new characters. I would like to see them come out in a little bit more of an exciting manner. Yay for a legendary release event. I'm hoping that it has a little bit of a formula change. I feel like legendary release events are pretty stale. And hero release events are kind of stale too. So I just really want to see some variability and a little bit of a change to the format. And we'll be bringing you information when we have it for both Ragnar and the Winged Tyrant. See character spotlights for all of those characters. I believe there is a data mining video coming out from Mr. Nandi here soon, so stay on the watch for that. And until next time, in just a few days, peace.